Hi, I'm Todd Greenbaum, and thank you for tuning in. Before I begin, I would like to take a moment and recognize you, parents and teachers, and how much you are appreciated. It's fall 2020. We are coming into the most challenging school year with new rules, added regulations, hybrid classes, and so much confusion. Parents need to work, and they need you. The children need you to give them the encouragement, support, and guidance, and the developmental skill sets necessary to succeed. You are now the frontline workers. You took this job surely not just for the money, but despite all these challenges, you care for the children first. As an early childhood professional, your dedication to seeing the children get the best care is what matters most. You are vital. You are that person to help make this world a better place for our children and our children's children. For that I say, thank you. My goal for this workshop is to inspire and encourage you to continue being the best you can be. First, let me tell you a little background story. And as all good stories begin, once upon a time. Early on in my teaching career, I would begin each morning circle time in the traditional way. Talk about the day of the week, the weather, the lesson of the day. I'd read a related story and do a finger play or two. Over the years, I was inspired by many workshop presenters with more ideas. I read and memorized folk tales, Mother Goose rhymes, popular children's storybooks. I discovered old and new original recordings of songs, rhythmic rhymes, and the call and response songs of Ella Jenkins to the story songs of Susan Harrison. Through all this, I built up quite a repertoire of songs, stories, and activities to present in my morning circle time. My confidence was more assured and was comfortable being more spontaneous, making up stories on the spot, together with the children taking imaginary journeys out of the circle to imaginary places, taking a familiar tune and changing the words to fit the lesson. On some days, just putting on a record and dancing. Teaching became in the moment. For the children, the lessons learned were fun, memorable, and engaging. It was about them. It truly raised the learning experience. And to this day, after 42 years of teaching, I've seen many of those children, now grown up, who come up to me and still remember a favorite song, a story, and even a lesson learned. So for this improvisational showcase, I've recruited the help from some very creative and talented artists who have inspired me. You'll see performances in classrooms, concerts, and in-home videos by CORINNE ROCKOW, Susan Harrison, Tom Johnson, Sean Taylor, Heather SISTO, BOBBI Lucas, along with a classroom performance by the one and only Miss Ella Jenkins. And now I'm excited to present to you this unique presentation to showcase early childhood education through music, storytelling, and dance. Let's begin with musical roots. My #1 musical inspiration. It all starts with Miss Ella Jenkins. Ella is to children's folk music what Ella Fitzgerald is to jazz, what Bessie Smith is to the blues, what Aretha Franklin is to soul. Ella Jenkins is recognized as the first lady of children's folk music. Born in Chicago, she just celebrated her 96th birthday. Ella has written and been recording songs for children on the Smithsonian Folkways Recording Collection since 1957. Her albums capture the rhythms and beats of children's songs for hand clapping, jump roping, ball bouncing from sidewalks, backyards, and campgrounds and playgrounds around the world. Because of Ella Jenkins, I start every classroom day with a song. And now, here is Ella Jenkins from 2012 performing her call and response song, Who Fed the Chickens?
I've got some more questions to ask you about the farm. Now I'm gonna say, who fed the chickens? And I want you to point to yourselves and say, I did. Everybody do that, okay? These are called pronouns. You'll know about those sometime. Who fed the chickens?
I did.
Who stacked the hay?
I did.
Who milked the cow?
I did.
On this fine day Once again now, who fed the chickens?
I did.
Who stacked the hay?
I did.
Who milked the cows?
I did.
On this fine day. Now I want you to point to a girl or to a woman, but don't touch anyone, and say, she did. Who fed the chicken?
She did.
Who stacked the hay?
She did.
Who milked the cows?
She did.
On this fine day. Point to another girl or woman. Who fed the chickens?
She did.
Who stacked the hay?
She did.
Who milked the cows?
She did.
On this fine day. Now point to a boy or a man and say, he did. Who fed the chicken?
He did.
Who stacked the hay?
He did.
Who milked the cows?
He did.
On this fine day. Point to another boy or man. Who fed the chickens?
He did.
Who stacked the hay?
He did.
Who milked the cows?
He did.
On this fine day. Now point to yourselves again and say, we did. Who fed the chickens?
We did.
Who stacked the hay?
We did.
Who milked the cows?
We did.
On this fine day. Now point to anyone and everyone here and say, they did. Who fed the chicken?
They did.
Who stacked the hay?
They did.
Who milked the cows?
They did.
On this fine, what's the rest of the day? Well, you did very, very well, and I think you deserve a good hand. You did very, very well.
After hearing Ella Jenkins sing, may have reminded you of a favorite childhood song that every time you sing it, it brings back a wonderful memory. For me, I remember my grandfather singing this song to me when I was about 4 years old, Sugar in the Morning. And now, here I am, a grandfather, and with my 4-year-old granddaughter, Nora, we're going to sing together, via long distance, Sugar in the Morning.
Hi, Nora.
Hi, Grandpa.
Are you ready to sing?
Definitely.
Here we go. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, sugar at supper time. Won't you be my sugar and love me all the time? Yay! I love you. Mwah.
Hug you.
Oh, it feels good.
My next artist and best friend, Corinne ROCKOW, the sing-along singer of Marquette. She's a fantastic songwriter, folk singer, banjo strumming, nature-loving mama. During this quarantine time, she asked her friends on Facebook to post their memories of those childhood rhymes that still rattle around in your head. With the overwhelming response that she received, she wrote this song, Just for Us, which she says has been the most fun to write song reuniting with old friends that never seem to get old. You're in for a treat. This is the worldwide exclusive premiere viewing. So, with every Corinne song, sing along and sing out loud.
Hi there. I'm Corinne ROCKOW, and this is the song that you, all of my friends and family and everybody have been helping me write, and it's been so much fun. Thank you so much, and this is what I have so far. Hope you have some fun with it. It's called Think It Through. Sometimes people simply don't know what to do, but if they think it through, they will figure it out. Mary Mac dressed in black, silver buttons up and down her back. Asked her mother for 50 cents. See the elephants jump the fence. Jumped so high, reached the sky. Didn't come back till the 4th of July. That's why I want to fly with those elephants. Sometimes people simply don't know what to do, but if they think it through, they will figure it out. As I went up the apple tree, all the apples fell on me. Bake a pudding, bake a pie. Did you ever tell a lie? Yes, you did, I know you did. You broke your grandma's teapot lid. Then you made her one out of clay, and I know you made her day. Sometimes people simply don't know what to do, but if they think it through, they will figure it out. Eeny, meeny, Pasadena, Alabama, Boomerini, Archie, Parchie, Liver Archie, and your brother George. George went to CCC to see what he could see, but all that he could see was a big daddy bumblebee. Sometimes people simply don't know what to do, but if they think it through, they will figure it out. Birdie, birdie in the sky, why'd you do that in my eye? Gee, I'm glad that cows don't fly, but what about elephants? Some flew east, some flew west, some flew over the cuckoo's nest. Ollie, ollie, income free, fly away with me. Whee! Sometimes people simply don't know what to do, but if they think it through, they will figure it out. After my bath, I try to wipe myself till I'm dry. Hands and feet, fingers and toes, 2 wet cheeks and a shiny nose. Just think how much less time I'd take if I were a dog. I could shake it up while you can. Shake it like a milkshake in a pan. Sometimes people simply don't know what to do, but if they think it through, they will figure it out. Mabel, set the table just as fast as you are able. Don't forget to set the salt and the red hot pepper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thought I caught a fish alive. Close your eyes and count to 10. And if you miss, start over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sometimes people simply don't know what to do, but if they think it through, they will figure it out. Worms crawl in, worms crawl out. Worms play pinochle on your snout. Your guts, they turn a slimy green and come out like whipping cream. Ho, he can't scare me. Would you like a cup of tea? Teddy bear, touch your shoe. Teddy bear, that will do. Sometimes people simply don't know what to do, but if they think it through, they will figure it out. COVID over, Italy rover, can't be close until it's over. Finding fun, new things to do, so we can stick together, we two. Entry, mintry, country corn, little boy blue, come blow your horn, every night and every morn, so we don't lose track of time. We can rhyme and rhyme and rhyme until the end of time. Sometimes people simply don't know what to do, but if we think it through, we will figure it out. They will figure it out. You will figure it out. We all will figure it out. So thank you and have some fun with it. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Corinne Rockow. Another style of children's folk songs that were very popular in the 1950s was called story songs. Stories spoken or sung with a musical accompaniment. Some examples are Pete Seeger's Abby Yo-Yo, Sam Hinton's The Frog Song, Ella Jenkins' Miss Mary Matt, Doc Watson's Froggy Went A-Courtin', on and on. This next video is by multi-talented artist Susan Harrison from Kalamazoo. She is a songwriter, guitarist, band leader, director, recording artist, and puppeteer with her Kalamazoo Puppet Show. She will be singing a jazzy version of the classic children's story, The Three Bears. Know her effectiveness of the closed technique by having a word out to engage the children in response. And now, here's Susan.
1, 2, 3, 4. You know, once upon a time in a nursery rhyme, there were 3 bears. Cha, cha, cha. One day they went walking in the woods and a talk. When along came a little girl with long flowing golden curls. Her name was Goldilocks. Up upon the door she knocked. She didn't care. No one was there. No, she walked right in. She walked right in. Yeah, she walked right in. Walked right in. Now, many of you probably remember the story of the 3 little bears. She walked into the kitchen and she saw 3 bowls of Fruit Loops on the table. Fruit Loops?
I don't think so.
3 bowls of porridge, that was it. And the first bowl was a little bit too hot, and the next bowl was a little bit too cold, and the next bowl was just right. So she gobbled it up. Then she walked into the living room, and there in the living room she found 3 little chairs. And she tried out the first one, and it was just much too hard. So she moved on to the next chair, and it was just much too soft. So she tried the next chair, and it was just right. But all of a sudden, crash! That chair was broken to pieces.
Correct.
Well, Goldilocks was thinking, boy, this is getting me a little tired. Oh, I think I'll go check out the upstairs. So she walked upstairs, and there, sure enough, there were 3 beds, and she fell asleep, sound asleep. Well, home came the 3 bears. Home came the 3 bears. Home came the 3 bears. Home came the 3 bears.
Well, who's been eating my porridge?
Said the Papa Bear. Who's been eating my porridge? Said the Mama Bear. Said the Mama Bear. Hey, Baba Free Bear. Said the little wee bear. Someone has broken my chair. Huh! Well, Goldilocks, she woke up and broke out the party and beat it out of there. Bye.
Bye-bye, Goldie.
Said
See
the
ya.
Papa Bear, said the Papa Bear. Bye-bye, bye-bye-bye, said the Mama Bear, said the Mama Bear. Hey, Baba Wee Bear, said the little wee bear. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye-bye. Huh. You know, that's the story of the 3 bears. Jazzy as they were. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan Harrison. I mentioned earlier about taking a familiar tune and changing the lyrics for the lesson you are teaching. Here is a wonderful example of this. Substitute the alphabet letters to any tune, as in Happy Birthday. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Or see if you can name this tune, a favorite of those long school bus trips. Remember those days? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, and O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Yep, 100 bottles of pop. on the wall. Try this out with any tune. Add the alphabets or fill in your own lyrics. Okay, it's probably a good time to give a big stretch. Stretch out your arms, your shoulders, your head, and your neck. Now, get ready to try some of these improv tips with Sean Taylor, owner of the Made Up Theater, or MUT. In this video by Sean, he will demonstrate several techniques to practice improvisation and story building at home and in your classroom.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of MUT Tips. I'm your host, Sean Taylor from the Made Up Theater, and let's jump into today's topic, improvising on your own. Even though improv is more closely associated with the ensemble, two or more people collaborating together on stage, you are still able to practice and hone those fundamentals when you are away from the stage and your fellow partners. So here are a few exercises that you can implement in that situation. So one exercise that you can practice away from your ensemble is practicing monologues, because monologues are solo performances, and they're a great way to build confidence. And they're a way for you to just kind of riff on some type of idea without actually judging your idea. Just go with the flow. So if you're in like your living room or your bedroom or someplace, you know, go over and look at an object, point at it, or even grab it if you want to, and just like perform like a 30-second monologue based on it. Just make up information about it, improvise freely without judging what you're saying. So for example, I might grab this highlighter and be like, this highlighter here at Office Depot, it highlights various rules here in the break room, that every hour we get a 5-minute break. We are also entitled to green M&Ms placed in glass containers that we can see to make sure that those M&Ms are always restocked. And just keep going for like 30 seconds. You can even go longer if you want. And the purpose of it is that you're just kind of going with the flow and improvising and not judging. You're practicing your confidence. So remember, remain committed to your character, whatever it is, your passion, your philosophy. How do you feel about this object? Start with an emotion and build from there. Sorry, I forgot to put shine powder on. Another way that you can practice improv on your own is object work. That is something that I've always thought is like so crucial to really conveying, you know, an actual reality on stage, is the objects and the environment that the improvisers interact with on stage. And it's something that's difficult, and it's something that, you know, is hard to practice. But when you're by yourself, then at that point you can practice a little more freely, because I think we don't go to object work because we're afraid of judgment. Like, we're not doing object work well enough. People are like, oh, I don't believe that. So just practice it on your own. A good way to practice this is just like, imagine that there's a table in front of you right now, and there's 5 different objects on that table. You don't know what it is yet. And I want you to just look at one piece of the table, and there's an object there, and just imagine what it is in your head. To me, maybe I'm imagining like, you know, just a glass, you know, a drinking glass. And I look at it, and it's like, to me, it's like a clear glass. It's pretty big, but it's a normal size. It's got a little crack on the side. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab it, pick it up and grab it. So that's my drinking glass right now. I could even interact with it a little bit. Maybe drink a little bit. Maybe there's like Dr. Pepper in it. A little, ooh, it's a little sweet. So I'm gonna put it down on the table somewhere. And the thing that you wanna do is like, try to maintain where it was that you put it on the table. And then grab another object. Maybe this is like, you know, a magical wand. So I pick this magical wand up, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. It's a little thick. Look at the size, the girth. Maybe it's a little bit heavier than most wands. And then I'm gonna put it back down on the table. And do that with like 3 other objects, and then try to go back to each of them, and even shuffle them around the table, because it's a way to kind of maintain continuity on stage. And it also shows the details that you're putting into each object. There maybe is like one specific detail to each object that makes it a little bit more, you know, memorable to you as a performer as well as to the audience. So it's a great way to practice improv on your own. Another way to practice improv on your own is through observation, which can translate to just people watching. So if you have like a day off one day, you know, go to a public venue like a mall or a park or some big place with a lot of people. Have a seat and just start watching people, observe them, and see what makes them unique, to get information on how you can make unique characters. Zero in on one at a time and look at them and think, wow, what makes them unique? Look at the way they move physically, look at their stature, look at their facial expressions. And then start improvising a little bit. Maybe give them a name, give them an occupation, you know? What are some aspirations they might have? What are some flaws that they have that make them unique? Because on stage, we wanna like have realistic characters on stage rather than caricatures, like big wacky characters that don't have depth. if we can actually take people that we've observed, whether they're family members or close friends or acquaintances or just strangers that we observed during the day, we can take that information and turn it into our own unique interpretation of a character and put it on stage, and the audience is going to empathize with it a lot more. And before concluding this video, one more thing to discuss is the need to actually improvise on your own. Because a lot of people who feel the need to improvise on their own are people who do improv a lot, maybe 4 to 5 times a week. And they think, well, I got to do one more day, but I don't have anybody to do it with, so I need to do it on my own. And that's something to look at, because you don't want to get burnt out on doing improv so much to the point where it actually causes you to plateau a little bit. And my advice is, if you're not doing improv, you're still doing improv, right? So for example, if you go and read a book, you're technically improvising because you're doing something that you made a choice to do. If you go and watch a movie, you have just improvised. You made a choice to go watch a movie. You know, if you're learning an instrument or learning how to paint, you know, these are all choices, and they're all creating a new, unique version of yourself with new experiences. And that's going to benefit you as a person, and thus it's going to benefit you on the stage. So really look at how much you do improv. If you do it a lot throughout the week, stick with that. And the other times, do stuff that isn't improv, because that is going to help you become a better improviser, because it's going to be helping you become just a better person and a more knowledgeable person and a more deep person.
Those were some great tips from Sean Taylor. Our next performer is my friend Tom Johnson from the Traverse City area. He is the master of illusion. He is an extremely gifted and talented pantomime artist. Early in his career, Tom was invited by Marcel Marceau to attend Marceau's International School of Mime in Paris. After studying in Paris, Tomo returned to Michigan as a teaching assistant for Marceau and created his one-man program, Tomo the Mime, still performing across Michigan in schools and concert halls. Through his humorous silent storytelling style, watch closely as he creates illusions of movement and obstacles through his facial expressions and physical actions by controlling his head, arms, legs, and body movements. And now, Tomo the Mime.
What exactly is the art of mime? I mean, what exactly is it?
There's several different ways to explain what mime is. Basically, I consider mime to be the world of silence. And I'm really just a storyteller, but I tell stories in a different way. I don't use words. I use my face and my body and my hands and everything all together to tell the stories. And so I'm just a silent storyteller.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom Johnson, and check out Tome of the Mind. Now we'll move on to another way of telling stories called story stretchers. Back in 1989, several early childhood education department professors put together a resource book of activities to expand children's favorite storybooks. They called this collection Story Stretchers. Books that lend themselves to going beyond reading the book and into every curriculum via arts and crafts, music, song, movement, and dramatic play. My next artist, Miss Heather SISTO, is from the Flint area. Having been a professor in the English and Humanities department at Mock Community College and served on the Flint Youth Theater, Miss SISTO is also an accomplished photographer and author of a children's book, V is for Vegetable. Her experience and knowledge makes her a delightful and wonderful animated storyteller. Heather will now demonstrate for you a story stretcher she made up using the art of improvisation on a well-loved and often repeated children's storybook. Now, let's watch Heather doing Whistle for Willie.
Hi, I'm Heather SISTO, Michigan Wolf Trap artist, and today I'm going to give you some tips on how to use improvisation. Improvisation is really just helping the kids pretend and using some specific clear cues to get them started. One great way is to use a story that the children are already familiar with. So for today's lesson, I'm going to use one of my favorite stories, Whistle for Willie by Ezra Jack Keats. Every improvisation has the elements of a story within it. It needs to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has either one character or several characters. It has a setting where it takes place, a basic plot, although very short, and a theme. What's the point of it? So in this story, the theme is the main character, Peter, gaining some self-confidence by learning a new skill. He's trying to learn how to whistle. We're going to focus on two main aspects of the story that lend themselves well to improvisation. One is the scene where Willie is trying to pretend to be his father. He looks in the mirror and puts on an adult article of clothing that reminds him of his father. So you can ask the kids ahead of time to get something out of the closet that reminds them of somebody that they want to pretend that they're going to be, which is what improvisation is. So there might be a hat, there might be an adult pair of shoes, anything, some glasses, anything that reminds them, a purse, something that reminds them, briefcase, of that adult that they want to pretend that they are. So in the story, Peter puts on his dad's hat, and I believe his jacket, and looks in the mirror, and then a really fun part of the improvisation would be to ask them to use the adult voice. How would that person speak differently than how you speak? Well, says Peter in the story, where's Peter? I haven't seen him. And his mother says, well, I think he's playing outside. She plays along. Oh, well, I understand he's been trying to learn how to whistle. How's that coming? And they could just have a lot of fun trying to be whoever the adult is. And that would be a little improvisation all by itself. Then back to the main part of the story, you would have them have a prop like a stuffed animal to represent Willie, which is the dog in the story. So if they don't have a pet, and usually the pet's not going to cooperate for the improvisation, best to use a stuffed animal. So I'm going to use my tiger. So Tiger's going to be my pet, and I'm really trying to learn how to whistle so that Tiger will come when I call him. Got that, Tiger? The other prop that's handy is a box. You can use a box for so many things, and kids love playing with boxes. Pretty affordable. So it doesn't matter how big the box is, but a fairly good size would help for this particular story. You could start by just improvising. How would you hide from your pet? Using the box, like Peter does in the story. Would you like to hide behind your box? Do you want to peek over or to the sides of your box? Do you want to get under your box? You can work on directions under and over. Do you want to get inside your box? Kids love getting inside of boxes, as you know. And while we're hiding in the box, we're trying to whistle to see if our pet will come. Oh, our pet doesn't hear us because still can't whistle, so not coming. But this time, we're going to have our noisemaker handy. It could be a whistle, or they could just be clapping or snapping or using anything they want as their noisemaker. So get in their box again. My pet heard me whistling and came running. Oh, it worked. I was able to whistle and my Tigger came running. Now I feel very confident. I hope that helped give you some ideas of how you can use just a small part of a story to get those imaginations going.
As a follow-up to Heather's story stretcher, here is a short list of some additional storybooks I chose for their simple dialogue and accessibility to dramatic play. Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. A boy's imagination runs wild as he sails off into the land of wild things. Going on a Bear Hunt by Michael Rosen. A hiking adventure into the forest to find a bear. Are You My Mother by P.D. Eastman. A newborn bird falls out of a tree in search of his mother, questioning everyone and everything. Are you my mother? Caps for Sale by Esfir Slobodkina. A cap salesman wakes up from a rest to find the monkeys in the tree took his cap and what he goes through to get them back. If You Give a Mouse a Cookie by Laura Numeroff. A logical sequential order of what would happen next. Peace at Last by Jill Murphy. Mr. Bear goes through the house to find a quiet place to sleep. Ask Mr. Bear by Marjorie Flack. A little boy searching for the best birthday gift to give his mother. And for more storybooks and suggestions, go to your children's section at your local library. They are a wonderful resource. Here is a list of more creative ways to effectively stretch your stories for a new retelling or to recap the story. Create a role in the story for an additional character or animal. Retell a story from a different location, ocean, outer space, fall, forest, mall, or school. Relate the story for another population to see from others' perspectives. Using the 1964 Civil Rights Act, think about age, race, color, religion, gender, or national origin, adding a new set of conflicts and solutions. Sing the story in a familiar tune or a rhythmic chant. Recap the story as a TV news reporter with a microphone prop, interviewing a character or characters in the story, asking who, what, when, where, why. Try to extend the story with asking, then what do you think happened next? Use the close technique as seen with Susan Harrison with a prompt. Try, once upon a time, there was a big green, and let the children fill in with that. Use puppets to act out the story. And recreate the story with found objects to place in the container and take out as you tell your story. At Wolf Trap, they call this a coffee can story. Our last artist and one of my favorite dancers is Miss Bobbi Lucas from Ferndale. Bobbi received her degree in theater and dance from Oakland University, a choreographer for the Oakland Dance Collective and a master Wolf Trap artist. She has taught creative movement, dance, and drama across the country and internationally in schools and in centers. As she performs in front of an auditorium of children, notice several techniques to watch that you can imitate. How she engages the children through storytelling and exercises to follow her directions and movements. Her idea for the concept of this original story came from Bobbi watching her dog and thinking about the different ways animals move. As a dancer, watch her use of space from non-locomotor to locomotor. Think of opposites as she moves. She is constantly aware of crossing that center line to stimulate the body and brain. Up and down, side to side, narrow and wide. But first, how are you going to get there? Let's put on our imaginary hat, get your binoculars, and we're ready to go with Bobby Lucas going on a safari.
My dog Barney is very special. My dog Barney can dance. He can. No, I have a dog named Barney, and he can dance. Believe it or not, it all started like this. One day, I got out one of those milk bones, you know, held it up for him. You should see that dog go. Tour en l'air, tours d'été. He jumps, he leaps, he turns. I call it the biscuit ballet. So it got me to thinking, if my dog Barney can dance, do you think other animals can dance? No, yes, I was in a quandary. I didn't know. So I went to my librarian, and guess what? She suggested that I go on. What kind of hat is this? Anybody know? A safari. Okay, and safari is a Swahili word, and it means journey. Okay? So, I decided to go on a safari in search of dancing animals. Would you like to go with me? Okay, let's see. What are we going to need if we're going on a safari? What? Food. Food is a very good thing. Let's get lots of food. A net. Very good. A net. Yes, ma'am. Water. Lots of water. What else? A safari hat. Oh, you're so observant. Yes. What are these things? Binoculars. Everybody, get out your binoculars. Okay, get out your binoculars. We're leaving now. Don't forget to take the lens caps off. I'm going on a safari, and you can come too. All you need is a big safari hat and a pair of dancing shoes. Are you ready? Here we go. If I can dance, and you can dance, hey, do you think an animal can dance? Animals dance if you give them a chance. Come on, let's do an animal dance. Here we go. Down the back steps, over the neighbor's fence, into their backyard. What do I see? I see their tiger cat looking at me. And this is how he dances. He stretches his claws. Can you stretch your claws? Good. He licks his paws. Can you lick your paws? Good. He arches his back. Can you arch your back like a Halloween cat? Good. Let's put it all together. Here we go. So you want to be a cat. Can you imagine that? Just stretch your claws, lick your paws, and arch your back. Stretch your claws, lick your paws, and arch your back. Hey, you look just like a cat.
Well, I hope you have enjoyed this past hour improvisation through the arts showcase. In closing, I want to first say thanks to Michigan AYC and Kelsey Laird for making this all possible. And to the performing artists in order of appearance, Ella Jenkins, Corinne ROCKOW, Susan Harrison, Sean Taylor, Tom Johnson, Heather SISTO, and Bobby Lucas, who took the time to share and create these wonderful videos from their homes for you. Many of these videos and more by each artist can be found by going to their Facebook page or on YouTube. Plus, if you like the artist, subscribe to them. It's free, the artists appreciate it, and will keep you current with their newest and latest ideas. If you would like to see the performance again, it will be available soon on YouTube. Go to Neighborhood Child Care Center. And of course, thank you for watching this presentation. I hope this has inspired you to challenge yourself and be spontaneous with more music, singing, storytelling, and dance. Listen to the children and be in the moment. Remember, the key is to enjoy this time. Smile more. You'll make learning fun and memorable. Be the inspiration to your children. I know you can. Hey, we're all in this together. We have to help each other in our own way to get through this topsy-turvy time. And please vote. To paraphrase the saying, all votes matter. Thank you, stay well, support the arts, and I hope to see you all next year at the conference.